Hello, everybody. This is Carone and Michelle. And today we're here. It is October 9th, 2022 at 1 p.m. And we're getting ready to start our monthly roll of the die activity. You guys, we have so much fun with this roll of the die. It challenges all of us or both of us in which to create things that may or may not make sense that are out of the box. As you know from last month when we roll the die, these are the elements that we came up with that the die rolled. We didn't come up with it, the die rolled them. And it was Stampin' Up! Neutrals, Friendship, Punches, Blending, and Monochromatic. And in the event that you don't know what the color scheme was that we had to choose from, Stampin' Up! Neutrals included the colors Early Espresso, Sahara Sand, Crumb Cake, Soft Suede, Smoky Slate, Basic Gray, Gray Granite, Night of Navy, Mossy Meadow, and I think I said Mary Merlot. So those are the color, that's the color palette that we had to choose from in the neutrals and to remain monochromatic. Hi guys, this is Carone. I am your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and with me today is my fellow demonstrator, Miss Michelle Hollins. And Michelle, why don't you take it away? Introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Staten Island, New York, and I am really excited to be here on Carone's channel for our monthly Roll the Die challenge. She always inspires me to be creative. Aww. It doesn't matter if I'm having a stamping block or whatever it is. She comes up with an idea and immediately I will sit down and something comes to life. And I am so grateful to have a stampin' friend like her. So here we are.
You just made my day.
Oh, well, you make my day every week. Aww. So we're here with our cards, and I came up with my creation this week while I was on vacations. I had a lot of time to play. This is going to be a great basic card layout that you can use with any stamp set, any paper, any colors, and just come up with a card and put it together. It heavily relies on punches and just blending and stamping and making your own sort of background. It's a slight fun fold. I think it's the most basic fun fold of all time. It's classic. It's a very classic card. And of course, our theme was friendship. So I had to choose a stamp set for friendship. So Carone, why don't you take it down to the desktop and let's get started. All right. So here's the card I came up with. It is a classic fold back.
Oh, I love it.
We've got lots of interest with different panels and different things. Monochromatic for me was my neutral color of Crumb Cake. So I started off with Crumb Cake, found some paper that I liked that I thought was very neutral and went with the Crumb Cake. I chose the Splendid Day designer series paper, which has this nice foil. And then I added in some vellum, did a little blending, has some embellishments that match. And I think that this is going to be a fun card for us to make. And we have extra time today because there's just two of us. So I'll go a little slower than I usually would. And let's get started. So the first step for this is to grab your Crumb Cake cardstock. You're going to want a piece that is 5.5 by 8.5 inches. You're going to score this guy at 2 1/8 and then at 4 1/4. So you want to fold towards your bumps. Give that a burnish with your bone folder. Nice and crisp. More. And that is going to be your basic unfold card base. Classic, easy. That is the base for your card. So obviously you could do this in any color, anything you want. The next pieces that we are going to grab are going to be our white pieces. So you're going to need a piece that is 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, 4 inches by 5 1/4. And for your sentiment, it will be 1 inch by 2 inches. So that is where we're going to do our stamping. For your designer series paper, and this is where I use the Splendid Day foil paper, you are going to need a piece of 3 by 3, a piece by 2.5 by 2.5. That's going to be for your punches. And I will grab the punches to show you what we punched. We used the decorative circle punch. This guy here, it gives you this nice little circle with a little bit of edge. And we use the handmade tag punch, which gives you this really cool shape. See that? All right. And so that's 3 by 3 and 2.5 by 2.5. Punch those out. You're going to need a circle. So you can use your layering circle dies and just cut out a circle that's about 2.5 inches. And these are all going to be layered. You're going to need a small piece of the vellum layering designs vellum, which is I don't know if you can, I can get this on camera so you could see that it has some writing on it. There you go. Can you see that? It has delicate little words on it, and that's what I use with the handmade tag punch. Then you're going to need a piece of 1 7/8 inch by 5 1/4. And then you're going to need some scraps of 1/2 inch by 5.5 inches and 1/2 inch by 5 1/4. So that's going to be all of your parts and pieces for your card. So once you have all that cut out, which by the magic of TV, I already have, you are just going to start with your stamping. So I will move this to the side a little bit. You might want to still see it. So you're going to grab your crumb cake ink and you're going to grab a blending brush and you're going to need a stamp set. And I chose True Beauty. So this is a cling stamp set, which is going to be your red rubber. And it has nice little friendship sentiment. You are a true friend and here for you always. So you can load them up on your box and you will get something that looks like this. I chose this particular flower, or sentiments. And that's what you're going to need. I like to do my blending on like label paper waste because it's, you know, it's a non-stick surface. You can just kind of blend it and throw it away. You could use a regular piece of copy paper, whatever you have. And I'm just going to take all of my pieces and do blending around the edges with the crumb cake ink. So I'm going to get that onto my blending brush, get that nice and loaded. Start off of your paper over here on the side and come in till you see that you're getting the color that you want. You can always go back and add more ink, but you cannot take ink away. So I'm just gonna do this all around the edge to give it a little bit of character. I don't want everything to be bright white all the time. It's a great technique to make things look distressed or aged. This is a really good color for that. Keep going all the way around the edges until you're happy with the amount that you have. Make it as dark or as light as you want it to be. It's your piece, anything you like. So that would be my finished result for this piece. And I'm going to do the same thing to the smaller panel. Add a little bit more ink here. Let's go around the edge on this one too. For the sentiment piece, we're going to do it slightly different. I'll show you that in just a minute. Come and get the last edge. Right, so that's our finished result for this panel. And now our sentiment piece. So we're going to start out the same way, going around the edges. It's a much smaller piece. All right. One last. Ooh, that's a lot. No worries. All right. Okay, so we have that piece done. Now I'm going to actually stamp my sentiment on here. So I'm going to grab my lovely little poke pad. As you can see, it gets a lot of use. Actually, I don't really need this. When you're using cling stamps, you don't necessarily need to have padding underneath, so I'll just try it without. I'm going to lightly ink up your stamp. Make sure you didn't get any ink all around the edges where you don't want it. And then lightly stamp this. So you are a true friend. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some ink, more ink to the edges with direct to stamp. So direct to paper, rather. I'm just going to take this and go into my ink pad a little bit to get a dark line, a very thin dark line around the edges. You could do this with a marker, but sometimes it's easier to just do it with your stamp pen. So as you can see, there's just like a dark edge around the whole thing. You can see it better like that. That is going to be our sentiment piece. And now we can stamp our other pieces. I am going to grab this piece again. I know I'm going to get ink everywhere, but that's fine. So first thing I want to stamp is my focal piece for the front, which is going to be this lovely flower. So I'll put it right about here. And then I'll come in with the stems. Or just the one stem, actually, not plural. And I got ink absolutely everywhere. So I'm just gonna, you can see how I correct that before I stamp. Puff on it a little, make sure it's still moist. And this right here. All right, so that's gonna be my main focal flower. Now I am going to add some interest to the edges by stamping a little bit off the corners, the floral edges. There we go. So that's going to be the one panel. And now I'm going to do for the inside. I'm going to take the same flower and just stamp all around in different places. Stamp off. Get first, second, and third generations. Interest. And now I'm going to stamp my sentiment. This says, here for you always. So that's going to be the inside panel. Now we are all done with our fun stamping. And I'm going to clean up my stamps, get them out of the way. I'm going to close my stamp pad so we don't get that everywhere. Like I got this. Messiness. Okay. And I'm just going to grab a sheet of plain paper here so I don't get any ink on anything I don't want. There. All right. So now it's just about assemblage. You're going to take your card base. I'm going to grab my silicone mat. All kinds of glitter. I don't know what the heck's all over it, but we had a fun time, I guess, with the silicone mat. Take my Stampin' Seal and just do this.
Michelle, what was in your mind when you chose the color palette besides neutrals? Why did you choose, or was there a reason why you chose that specific color?
When I think of neutrals, crumb cake is the neutralist of them all.
Okay.
That is the most neutral color that I can think of. So I immediately knew that was the color I wanted to use.
Okay.
I'm going to take the 1/2 by 5.5 inch and put that on the front, just on the leftmost edge of the card. Just like this. Take the bigger panel for the inside. Here. And now our inner panel. I'm going to take the 1/2 inch by 5 1/4 and put it on the right hand.
That's Splendid Day paper, correct? That's beautiful.
Yep, that's that foil paper from Splendid Day, which I had a lot of scraps and strips, and that's where I got the idea for just these little strips, because I had a lot of like edge pieces left after doing other projects.
Gotcha.
And now we're 90% done, but we want to have our focal image, this right here. So we're going to put that together. The reason I chose to have a circle was because I just wanted the back side of this to be finished, because when you put it on, it's going to be like this, but when you open it, you're still going to kind of see it. It's going to show. So I wanted it to be kind of finished. So that's where I got the circle idea.
Okay.
So I'm going to put the decorative circle, the regular circle. That fits in there nicely. And then I'm going to put my little scripty word vellum layer right on top of that. I'm just going to put one line across the center because we're going to cover that up. It's not going to show. See, so you can see the adhesive a little bit, but we're covering that up. So no one will ever know that that showed.
Okay.
Dimensionals. How many dimensionals am I going to use, girl?
I think you're going to use 4 if you use any. You're not like me. Maybe 5 max.
5. I'm going with 5. Yep. All right. Just put that right over top there. And now we have our centerpiece for our card. Adhere that to the card here. So we're just gonna, on this left-hand side here, put some adhesive. Up in the center. Get that to press. And now we need embellishments. We've got to have embellishments.
Always.
I chose the brushed metallic adhesive back dots.
Okay.
I thought they went nicely with our neutrals. I'm going to use my take your pick tool. And I'm just going to choose two little dots here and one here. And that is our card. We're done. So you see, you can make a super fast, super easy, but beautiful card.
It is very beautiful.
And you can do this with any theme, any colors, any paper, any images you want. So this would make a great like winter scene, like snowflakes or something like that, and have like a snowflake in the center here, something like that.
Hmm.
I think
You
that would be
always
nice.
do a beautiful job, Michelle. It's a beautiful card.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I think they look pretty much alike. I think I did, right? Twins.
They do. They do. They do. They
Twins.
do.
We did it. We did it, y'all. We did it.
You did a great job, my friend.
Thank you.
All righty. Let me unspotlight you. And if you want to take a few minutes, because you still have 6 minutes into your 30 minutes, if you want to say something, or we can just keep it moving.
Yeah. What are the latest and greatest Stampin' Up! News items? The join offer. That's a pretty good one. For the month of October, you can get your starter kit for the usual $99 price, but you can choose any items you like for the value of $155.
Amen.
Usually $125, so you're getting a lot, $56 worth of free items when you join, which I think is fantastic. So if anyone's looking to join and you want to join with Caron out there in Texas or with me out here in New York, you know, we have a good time. We hang out with other demonstrators, we craft together, we do all these fun things, and we get to have items first. Like Caron's probably going to show you one of the new pre-order items. There's a whole set that they made available, fitting florets, which I think is so beautiful. I can't wait to get mine. It comes Tuesday. And I think Caron just got hers in the mail because she's in Texas. She lives closer to Utah. And there's what else is happening? There's a new kit available.
Yeah, the birthday organizer kit. Yeah.
The birthday card organizer kit is like a kit where you can make 12 different birthday cards, but then you have a bound organizer that has each month a folder and a place for you to write out people's birthdays on what date the birthdays are. So once you see the month and you're like, oh my goodness, I need a card, you just use the kit, make a card, and mail it out. So that is pretty much the good haps for October.
Okay.
Stampin' Up.
Cool. All right. Well, like Michelle said, I am Caron. I'm the demonstrator in Austin, Texas. And let me tell you, this is the card that I created for today's challenge. I went with the grays and the neutrals and the blacks for my color palette when I was creating this card. But as you know, when I come on here, I always try to do something a little bit different, keeping in mind this is my inspiration. So like Michelle said, I just got in the mail, Stampin' Up! During World Card Making Day announced that as a demonstrator during the month of October, we were going to be able to pre-order the Fitting Florets Sweets collection. I think Sweets, right? And it included these the designer series papers, a 12 by 12. And I'm going to take a minute to walk you through this, although I'm not going to be using the DSP because they're not part of the in colors or the neutrals. So this is the prints from the designer series paper. And I haven't played with everything yet, but as I understand, there's a die in the suite that will cut these floral images out. So I'm going to play with this in the next couple of days or weeks or so you can see what is happening there. So this is the front side of the palette. And then as always with Stampin' Up's designer series paper, the front side is what I call busy, and then the back side is more neutral. And this is what the back side of the DSP looks like, okay? So this is the DSP that will come in that. Now, demonstrators are able to pre-order it in October, but it will be available to our customers starting November. Is it November 1st or November 4th? I can't remember which. Coming up. And part of the suite is we got 2 stamp sets. The Flame Florets stamp sets. I love the sentiment. I love the script, the font that's on here. And this is what comes with this. And the second set that comes in it is the Framed and Festive. So this is kind of more holiday geared centric, and this is an everyday occasion type thing. So this bundle, this color, oh, this is also what you get. You get these beautiful gems. I don't know if you can see it. They kind of look like, have you ever seen peppermints that have, and they have the like the little swirly things in them? That's what these are. And there's a gold, guess what? It's called gold adhesive backed swirls. Hello? So that's what's in here. And then let me quickly open the dies, even though I'm not going to be using the dies in this card, but I'm going to show you what the dies look like. I've already changed these out. So here's the first set that comes in there. And the dies are called framed florets. And you have these decorative dies. There's the inner pieces in the other one. And then here's the second set of dies that come also in the die set. Okay, so this is a beautiful collection. Michelle, what was it, 97 for the collection? I think it was.
Something like that.
I think that's what it was. So what I decided to do with my card is I changed palettes, and you guys, Michelle and I did not, we did not have a conversation. We never have a conversation in terms of what we're going to do. So once I received this palette or this stamp set, I decided I was going to go with, instead of grays, I went into the browns for my card. So I'm going to work with Sahara Sand, Early Espresso, Crumb Cake, and Soft Suede are the colors that I'm going to work with, okay? And I am going to use the stamp set from the bundle, and we're going to get started on that first. So let me tell you the pieces that we're going to have. As you see right here, the card base is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. My Early Espresso piece is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then you'll need a piece of basic white, 2 of them that is 3 3/4, one that's 3 3/4 by 5, and the other that's 4 by 5 1/4. And the 4 by 5 1/4 is going to be on the inside of your card. So let's move all of this aside, and we're going to work with the basic white 3 3/4 by 5-inch palette piece of cardstock. And so what I'm going to do is, because I think somebody called me the embossing queen, and fortunately I am the embossing queen. I love to emboss. That is just what I love to do. And I've done this technique before, and it just, I mean, it serves me well, so I continue to use it, okay? So I'm just going to go in with my little embossing buddy, my little embossing brush here, and kind of brush away any of the oil that may or may not have settled on here. And because I am using the photopolymer stamp set, I am going to use, I'm going to bring out the foam mat, and I'm going to use this to stamp when I have one of these sticky sheets. So this is not going to move, you guys. All right, let's do that again. And I've already put my images on. Last week for World Card Making Day, you kind of watched me do where I created my own designer series paper. And I did that from a full sheet. This time I'm just going to do it on this 3 3/4 inch panel to create my card, okay? Or my focal image. So I'm using the larger image from the set, and I'm just going to stamp all across. And I'm stamping, I inked it up in Versamark ink. And I know you won't be able to see this. You won't see any of it until I add the color for ink blending, okay? And then one of the things, just keep rotating your die, your stamp. You just want it to look different everywhere. And yes, I know you can't see it, but you will see it when I'm done, okay? Let's put this right here. Let's do one more with the big piece, and then we'll go in and we'll fill slots in with the other elements, some of the other elements from the stamp sets. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with this leafy element as well. And this is just going to be used again just to fill some spots in the, which you can't see, but you'll see. You'll see when we're done. You'll see it.
It'll be like magic.
Magic. Yep.
The big reveal.
Yep. Obviously, it's easier if you're doing it with color. You can obviously see where you're going, but that's okay. And overlap is always fine. Nothing wrong with a little overlap. And really all we're doing is we're just creating our own designer series paper here. I think that's enough. Okay. And now I'm going to go in with our white embossing powder. You can use clear if you're going for a, I guess, a watermark look type look, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm actually going in for, I want you to be able to see the white images when we're done. I told you this wasn't going anywhere. There we go. Perfect. And I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pour this white embossing powder all over this card front. And I don't know, you can start to see now where you have where the images are. Can you see them, Michelle? I don't know if you can see it clearly yet.
Not really. It's very faint.
Okay, you can
and now I can see it.
Yeah, you can kind of start to see where you have your stamped images already laid out, which is kind of what we want. Awesome. So now let me just put this excess back in here. I don't like to waste, so I'm keeping my excess. And then I'm gonna let my heat gun warm up, and then we're gonna heat set this, and then we're gonna go in and get to coloring. Let me grab my reversible tweezers, and I think we're good now, and we can go ahead and start to heat set this. Again, because it's white on white, you probably won't be able to see just yet. There we go. Now it's starting to melt.
Is the Stampin' Up! Heat tool that quiet?
Huh?
I can't hear your heat tool. Is it really that quiet?
I guess so, if you can't hear it.
Every time you use it, I'm like, why can't I hear her heat tool? Like, I need to get this heat tool. It's so quiet. And if you're close enough, you would actually see when the embossing powder actually sets and it's ready. So you'll be able to see, even though you may not be able to see it while I'm doing it. If you're recreating this card, you will be able to see when it's ready. Perfect. All right. All right, so now that our piece is done and ready, I'm gonna let it sit for just a second. I'm gonna
reach for a silicone mat, and that's what I tend to use. I have this silicone mat that I purchased. It's not Stampin' Up, you guys. I do apologize for that, but it is what it is. And I'm going to start adding ink. Okay. Now, the theory of ink is always working with your lightest color first and then working up to your darkest color. And the reason for that, in case you don't know, is to make sure that your darker colors do not contaminate your lighter colors. Okay. All right. So here we go. And the first color I'm going in with is Sahara Sand. And I'm going to do Sahara Sand all over. Can you see now where the images are?
Yeah, now I can see.
Okay, good. And I haven't worked with this palette yet, so I might not use the early espresso on this because it might be too dark, but we'll go ahead and we'll add and we'll see what we need to do and where we need to change. Okay. And again, best to start with a light hand. You can always add more color. You can't take it away if you start too dark. Now, when I'm doing this, my thought is I want the center to be lighter. So as I add additional the other colors, I'm going to try to stay as far away from the I'm going to try to stay as far away from the center as I can. I think that's enough of the Sahara Sand. I'm going to start with the crumb cake. There we go. This is like my favorite technique with making cards and blending. It is.
Emboss Resist.
Yep, it's my go-to. It's my go-to.
Because it's like magic.
Yes, the reveal is just the most amazing part of it, I think. Oh, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do 3 sides. I think that's what I'm going to do. See, that's how the ideas just change. All right. And then I'm going to go in with the soft suede. It's a lot darker. And it's more brown, like a reddish brown. I don't know if you can see the difference so far.
Yeah.
How the color just changed a little bit when I added the soft suede. Got to be a little bit more reddish brown. And I think I'm going to stop with this shade of brown. I don't want it to be too dark. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to like clean my brush just a little bit, and I'm going to blend down again just to make sure my colors are completely blended the way I want them to be. I'm looking for a piece of scrap paper so I can clean my brush. You know, as often as I have tissue and scrap paper in here, I never seem to find it when I need it. My scrap bin. All right, so I got enough of that off. There we go. And now I'm gonna go back in with crumb cake. Oh no, I'm just gonna do Sahara Sand. I'm just gonna do Sahara Sand. That's just to blend out and soften the edges. Okay. Perfect. All right. Now that we've done that, we are going to go right back in, if I can find my tools. You can take a piece of microfiber cloth. You can take a paper towel. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over the image, and I just want to remove some of the color from the white so that the white is what's standing out where it comes to the floral image. Now you may not be able to get all the color off, but you'll get a good amount of the color off of the embossing powder, the resist part, that you can see the white very clearly and crisply. Perfect. All righty. So that's what we have here. And I'm going to do one more thing, you guys. I'm going to go in with my water aqua painter, right? Not that thing, not right there. And what I want to do is add just some flecks of water. And because the ink is a water-based ink, it will also resist, right? So here we go. All I'm doing is getting the bristles wet, and then I'm just gonna flick. Flick, like that. I'm not a very good flicker, y'all, just so you know. And you can see the water, where the water droplets have hit, where it's starting to resist that as well. All right, so this part of the card is done. Let's get rid of all of this. And then we can practically start putting together our parts and pieces, okay? So, like I said, this panel should be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And we're gonna mount that on that piece. And we're gonna use liquid glue because Corone needs that extra time. Y'all know that already. I'm gonna lay this on here. Make sure it's even, or as even, close to even as I get. Oops. I don't know what just happened there. What's that color there? Uh-oh. Somehow I got this reddish color. Yes? Did you lose me? Did I lose you?
No, I said it's from the glue.
The red thing there?
Yeah, it's probably from the glue.
Oh, dadgummit. That just means it's an opportunity to put a birdie on it. Some kind of decorative thing that I'm going to
ribbon?
use. Huh?
A ribbon?
Something to hide and camouflage that little thing right there. Oops. I find that sometimes when you score, do you find that also sometimes you still have to make sure that your ends and edges even up?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not just me. Perfect. All right, so now that I have to now put a piece of ribbon here, I got to figure out what ribbon I'm going to use because that wasn't in my plan. It was not in my design plan. So now I got to figure it out.
It's crafting live.
I know. Give me 1 second. Let me go find some ribbon. Yeah. It's got to be in the monochrome area. Oh my gosh. It's got to be in the monochrome.
Can you just use that white gauzy one?
I thought about that. That should be good too. You talking about this one?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Two heads, but two
Oh
heads
no,
are,
I meant the crinkle seam binding one.
you're talking about the crinkle seam binding? I kind of
Yeah.
like this, but that's not gonna cover. Oh, this one might work too. I'm gonna use that one.
Ooh, he's pretty. I don't have him.
Oh, this is an older one.
I definitely don't have him.
Satin edged ribbon.
Ooh.
I am gonna use that one. Works perfectly in here. And how do we attach ribbon? Kind of have an idea where you want your ribbon to go. And then I kind of just turn it over. And then this is where I come in with my Stampin' Seal, which I don't use as much because I do prefer liquid glue. And all I will do is I'll make a strip of adhesive on each side, like so. Oops. Right. And then I'll turn it back over and make sure that the ribbon is lining up where I need for it to line up. Okay. Okay, that looks quite straight to me, so I'm gonna even it up just a bit. Okay, perfect. And now I'm gonna add this to our card base. And I gotta figure out, I would say how many dimensionals I'm gonna use, but I'm not gonna use any dimensionals. I am gonna pull out my foam adhesive sheet.
All the dimensionals.
I'm gonna pull out my foam adhesive sheet. And I'm gonna use that instead. That. And I'm just gonna cut a little bit of it off at the bottom, like so. And I don't measure, I'm just cutting.
Wait, I lied. I do have that ribbon. It's new. The satin edge ribbon. I did get that. Here it is.
Oh, which one is it? Which?
It's from the holiday mini catalog. I just got that.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. And then the last, well, we're gonna just add this guy right here. And we don't have a big border because remember, this is just 1/8 of an inch smaller all around. All right. Now the last thing, well, not last, the one thing I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna stamp my sentiment. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment on Early Espresso. I'm gonna make a piece that's about, I'm gonna make it about 1 inch wide. You can always trim it down. I haven't brought in the punch element yet, right? That's what you're saying, right? Where's the punch? Where's the punch? I know. I am gonna use a punch. Gotta use all of the elements, right?
Yep.
Here we go. I'm gonna stamp this guy like so. Make sure we get that all. Let's get a little bit of that going. And then we are just gonna stamp our sentiment right so. All right. And then I'm gonna, again, keeping with the white, heat embossing powder. I'm just going to add that to it. You see all these edges? This is probably where I had some oils or something on my thumb or my finger. This is why you kind of go in with your embossing buddy to make sure you remove as much of the oils as possible. On your piece, whatever it is you emboss. Repeating the tool. And again, you'll see when the powder starts to melt. I'm going to let that sit for just a quick second. I'm going to trim off the edge. So this is, if you're following, this is a 1 inch by 3 1/4. 1 by 3 1/4 inch strip. And I'm going to go in with, I think this is retired, but it's the Banner's Pick-a-Punch punch. I don't get rid of any of my sentiment or my banners or my flag punches. One, because I think they're awesome. They're a great tool in your inventory. So I don't normally get rid of it. And I want it to be that one. So I'm going to use this side right here. I'm not going to flag it, but I'm just going to do the banner. And I'm going to turn it over, make sure it's lined up straight.
It's still current.
It is, yes. Yes, I love it when a plan is working. And again, line this up as straight as we can. And that's not straight. That's not straight. My sister and I went to see that movie Amsterdam last night, Michelle. Oh my God, it was horrible.
It was?
Yes.
No.
I fell asleep during the movie. That's how like no.
Wow.
This was a waste of $11 per person.
Wow.
And I don't normally say that about most things, but it was like horrible. Anyway, all right. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add some more of the sheet. Make my sentiment stand out. I got 3 minutes to finish, Michelle.
3 minutes. You can do it.
I know. Although I think it's probably going to take me a whole 3 minutes to make this darn bow.
I mean, but we got all our elements on the card. That's what matters.
Yes.
All of the challenge elements have been represented.
Monochromatic, neutrals, blending,
Ship.
punches, friendship. And I think that's it.
Yep.
All right, so let me finish this bow, and then I'm going to roll the dice so we can see what we're working with for next month. How's that? Does that work?
That works.
And so this is how I'm tying my bow. It's not the best way, but it's how I'm doing it for and it's not neat. So if it's probably going to freak you out that it's not neatly done, but it's the way I get it done. Like so.
I have to use a tool. I can't do it freehand.
I try. I always try. There we go. Ha ha ha. And now all I'm going to do is try to make my loops be the size that I want them to be. Okay. I'll finish that. So let me grab out the dies. And I'm going to do is I'm just going to put I'm going to end up putting the bow somewhere like here. Something like that. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. So that's the finished card. This was the inspiration. And this is what we created today. I'm happy.
Nice.
I know. All right. Let me grab out my die, you guys, and then we can see what we're working with next week, next month. All right, let me put this aside. And there's five dies in the set. I was looking for a little something to shake it up with. Oh well, it'll have to be my hand. Okay. Oh, my favorite thing, embossing.
She's cheating, y'all. Cheating.
I did not cheat. Hi, Sharon. How are you? Thanks for stopping in. Embellish. Regals. Congratulations. I think we did congrats already, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Slimline.
I do not make slimline cards, but okay. That's what it is. That's what it is, you guys. So for next month, this is the elements that we have to work with. We are going to create a card that's a slimline card featuring the regal colors, have to have some sort of embossing and an embellishment, and it has to be a congratulatory card. I don't know how I'm going to do slimline. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, that's all we have for you guys today. We have taken up an hour of your time like we said we would. And let me take the spotlight off of myself. All right, hold on. Remove spotlight. All righty. So here's what we have, you guys. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, Michelle and I, as we created for you our cards featuring the elements from the last month's roll of the die. Thank you guys. You guys have a great day. Have a great stamping day. And I know you get to start your work week tomorrow, but either way, have fun, stay safe, and happy stamping.